Welcome to the Spring 2019 Digital SAT Administration Overview. As you review this presentation, you'll learn what you need to do to prepare for the Digital SAT and to have a successful test day. It is expected that all students will test digitally. Only students who have an accommodation requiring a paper-pencil test can test on paper. Each student must complete all sections of the test in one day unless the student has been approved for accommodations that extend testing time beyond a day. All students taking the test on the same day have to test at the same time. Primary and makeup test days could vary by state and school. If your state has a designated makeup test day, all testing on the makeup day will be paper-pencil. Schools that choose to administer the digital SAT between April 9th through 11th, 2019. These schools have the option to administer the test to all students on a single day within that window, or may spread students out across multiple days of the window. These schools must test students in the 3-day window unless they have accommodations that allow them to test in the accommodated testing window from April 9th through the 22nd, 2019. The April 2019 SAT School Day test offers certain educator reporting and student services associated with this release test. However, due to security reasons, only testing on April 9th of the 3-day digital window is available for those services, such as the question and answer service. Critical information for digital testing will be accessible at digitaltesting.collegeboard.org, including recorded webinars and presentations, hardware and software requirements for the digital testing systems and tools, digital testing FAQs, step-by-step guide for digital preparedness, links to the student digital test preview, electronic copies of digital testing manuals and system guides, links to official College Board practice materials including Khan Academy, customer service and technical support contact information. Roles and responsibilities. The test coordinator is the district or school staff member responsible for managing all aspects of digital and/or paper test day preparation and administration. The SSD coordinator is the district or school staff member assigned by the test coordinator to assist in the completion of SSD-related duties and the setup of approved accommodations in the test environment. The technology coordinator is the district or school staff member responsible for managing all the technical aspects of digital test delivery, including environment setup, hardware and software management, and internet connectivity for digital testing. Proctors are current or retired teachers, counselors, administrators, or other professional staff who are familiar with test administration. They are responsible for the delivery of test instructions and initiating and monitoring student testing in the test room. Monitors are members of the school staff or other qualified adults who have been trained to help the test coordinator and proctors. The bulk registration coordinator is the state or district staff person responsible for managing the upload of student data into the College Board's bulk registration tool. Note that in some cases, the same individual can serve in multiple roles. As the test coordinator, you can expect to devote a fair amount of time to the digital administration training activities, including participating in this overview, completing the required online training courses, and reviewing the self-service materials from the digital portal. Your school setup could take 1 to 3 hours to complete the software installation on student devices, configure rooms, and create support staff accounts in the digital test delivery system. The administration of the test itself will take 3 to 4 hours on test day, with an additional 1 to 2 hours needed for pre- and post-administration activities, such as administering the questionnaire and distributing and collecting test materials. The SAT is divided into 4 tests, or 5 if your school is administering the essay. Standard testing time is a total of 3 hours, plus an additional 50 minutes if administering the essay. The test day also includes one 10-minute and one 5-minute break, plus an additional 2-minute break for essay. Technology Coordinator. Each school must be assigned a technology coordinator who's accountable for setup tasks. The technology coordinator must be available for all pre-administration and test day activities. They are responsible for managing all technical aspects of digital test delivery in the school, including setting up network configurations and ensuring connectivity meets bandwidth, content filters, and firewall requirements, ensuring that schools have enough devices that meet system requirements, supporting the installation of AIR's secure browser on testing devices, and troubleshooting issues with test-taking devices and networks in schools on test day. Be sure to check with your district to confirm that you have the support and authorization to execute all technical requirements. Your state or district bulk registration coordinator is responsible for uploading a complete roster of your students using the College Board's bulk registration system. Your student data will be available in AIR's Test Information Distribution Engine, TIDE, platform the next day so that you can complete all digital readiness tasks ahead of test day. Once a school's student data has been loaded, test coordinators can view and manage student data and test settings. If a new student must be added to TIDE ahead of test day, work with your bulk registration contact. We deliver the digital SAT using the American Institutes for Research AIR test delivery system and supporting tools which include these applications. The Test Information Distribution Engine, also known as TIDE, the Test Administration Interface, or TA interface, and the CB Secure Browser. Test coordinators use TIDE to manage data and configure the digital SAT ahead of test day. Functions include managing school and user data, managing digital student roster data and test registrations, monitoring digital test sessions, modifying test settings for students with accommodations, and printing test tickets. Proctors use the TA interface to administer the digital SAT. Functions include allowing proctors to administer operational tests, approving students into the test sessions, monitoring and managing test timing, monitoring student test status. In addition, the College Board also provides a sandbox environment allowing proctors to simulate test day and get hands-on experience administering the digital tests by using the TA interface practice site. Students use the CB Secure Browser to access and take the test. Schools are required to download and install the CB Secure Browser on all student test-taking devices. Functions include delivering test content, securing the desktop to maintain test security, collecting student responses. Schools already using AIR for other assessments must download the College Board's secure browser. The CB Secure Browser does not replace state testing browsers, and both may be installed on the same device. Test coordinators and proctors will use the same AIR products to administer the test. Test coordinators and other staff will need to log in separately across their state and College Board AIR systems. Student data elements, test sessions, accommodation settings, and permissions for the digital SAT in TIDE may differ from your state instance. If testing the same students across state testing and the digital SAT, they will be represented separately in both systems. The College Board's version of the TA interface and CB Secure Browser have timing functionality built in to ensure that all students receive their fully allotted testing time. This slide provides an overview of the test room devices for proctors and test takers. All devices must meet the system requirements and technical specifications available online at digitaltesting.collegeboard.org. Schools must have the ability to install a secure browser client application on all test-taking devices. Desktops, laptops, iPads, and/or Chromebooks are allowed. Devices must connect to the internet, wired or wireless. Devices must be school-owned. Devices must have power cords and battery of at least 5 hours. Each digital testing room must have a dedicated device which the proctor will use to access the TA software and to launch and monitor testing progress. Students testing with an approved assistive technology device should pre-test the device in the Student Digital Test Preview prior to test day in order to ensure operational functionality. Note, Apple iPads with a 9.7-inch display are allowed. Apple iPads must be 4th generation or higher, and iPad minis can't be used. External keyboards are required when testing the digital SAT with Essay on iPads. Wireless or Bluetooth keyboards are not supported. Your network should have enough bandwidth to support online testing at the required performance level. These tables display the estimated average bandwidth required and recommended ratios to wireless access points. College Board provides a network diagnostic tool to make sure your school has the bandwidth to support the number of students expected to test at the same time. Ensure that your school's network infrastructure can support the number of simultaneous test takers you plan to test, and avoid areas of your school with poor network performance. School staff can use AIR's sandbox environment to simulate test day and get hands-on experience administering the digital tests in the SAT suite of assessments. School staff can use the TA interface practice site with the Student Digital Test Preview to learn how to start a test session and monitor student testing. We recommend schools plan to incorporate this exercise into their staff training. Detailed instructions and a resource guide are available on the digital testing portal. Get started by reviewing the technical requirements and following the digital preparedness step-by-step guide outlined on the digital testing portal. This will ensure your school is prepared with devices that meet the specifications to administer the test. The technology setup tasks and test readiness evaluation are critical to ensuring a successful test day and minimize the likelihood of a test interruption or technical issue. The digital SAT is accessible to students testing with accommodations. Some of the accessibility features are universal and available to all students, while other features require approval or set up by the test coordinator. Universal tools include Bookmark, Mark for Review, Calculator for the Math Test Calculator section only, Global Notepad, Highlighter, Line Reader, Strike Through, Option Eliminator, Student Clock, Zoom In, Zoom Out. Settings that need to be configured in TIDE ahead of test day include Assistive Technology, Color Contrast, English Learner Supports, 4-function calculator for Math Test No Calculator section, Masking, Mouse Pointer, Non-Embedded Accommodations, Permissive Mode, Streamline Mode, Text-to-Speech, Text-to-Speech Rule, Timing, Zoom Font Size. Schools must indicate in AIR's TIDE system on the student record if the student is testing with College Board approved or state allowed accommodations. For students already approved for College Board accommodations, a new request is not required to test in the digital mode. Reminder, for state allowed accommodations, SAA, students, schools, and the state will receive scores. However, the scores are not valid for college admission. Schools must also indicate in TIDE if the student is receiving an EL support or an accommodation that is not embedded in the platform. Students who require different timing or breaks must be tested in separate rooms. Follow these policies for assigning rooms. Seat students with the same type of timing and breaks together. This may require multiple digital testing rooms. Assign a room and a proctor separate from those used for standard testing rooms. Provide appropriately configured test-taking devices and resources to support students' accommodations. The student test experience includes a number of universal tools available to all students. Some tools, like the math formula sheet and calculator, are only available in the math section. Test Day staff and students should review the Student Digital Test Preview to become familiar with the digital test delivery system ahead of Test Day. We strongly recommend holding a pre-administration session to complete the questionnaire section before Test Day. The questionnaire allows students to provide information about themselves, their school experiences, and plans for college. If you are unable to schedule a pre-administration session, students may complete the questionnaire on Test Day. Test coordinators will need to identify and prepare rooms and spaces for the digital test administration. Keep in mind, additional rooms may need to be set up for students who have accommodations. Ahead of Test Day, ensure that all required equipment is available in each digital testing room. While identifying and preparing rooms for digital testing, please keep in mind these guidelines for digital room configurations and seating policy. Use chairs with backs. It is very important that testing stations be configured to prevent testers from easily viewing the screens of nearby testers. Provide enough space for testing and the use of scratch paper and/or calculators. Lap boards are not permitted. Each room must have a dedicated computer for the proctor, test-taking device for each student testing. To help maximize security and spacing, carrels, dividers, and/or partitions are highly encouraged. Partitions must conceal a student's writing surface or testing device from other students but not obstruct the proctor's visibility of students. Please note that the spacing requirements for the digital test are, with partitions, no less than 3 feet apart side to side and 5 feet back to back, front to back, from center of one computer to the center of the next. Without partitions, no less than 4 feet apart side to side and 5 feet back to back, front to back, from center of one computer to the center of the next. Seating students face to face is only allowed with partitions. Seating students facing the same direction is allowed, but we recommend the use of partitions. This slide contains some examples of seating configurations for digital testing with and without partitions. It is important to note that seating distances vary depending on whether or not the seating configurations are using partitions. The distances noted here are measured from center to center. Here are some additional examples of seating configurations set up with desks arranged front to back. New for the 2018-2019 Digital Test Administration calendar, we allow forward-facing seating configurations without partitions, but students must be set 5 feet apart, measured front to back. U-shaped seating configurations are allowed. However, students must face outwards toward the wall and must not be seated next to each other in the connecting corner. When preparing for Test Day, please be advised of these staffing considerations needed to support the digital test administration. You need to plan to assign at least one proctor to each testing room up to 25 students. Add 2 room monitors for testing rooms with 26 to 50 students. Add an additional monitor for each additional 25 test takers. Recruit at least one hall monitor, even if testing a single room of students, and train the hall monitor to support the digital test proctor. The College Board will send an email notification to all test coordinators about 6 weeks ahead of testing with login instructions for online training. The test coordinator must complete all required training courses prior to test day and will be able to share training with staff who will be supporting the test administration. In addition to the digital courses, we assign coordinators the training associated with a paper and pencil test in the event that your school has students testing on paper as an accommodation. The College Board will ship materials necessary to support the digital testing. Test coordinators will receive paper and electronic copies of the Digital SAT Test Coordinator Manual and the Digital SAT Accommodated Testing Manual with the required information to prepare and deliver the pre-administration session and test. This slide shows a high-level timeline of tasks and events that you will encounter leading up to test day. Actual dates will differ by test date. A more detailed timeline of important dates will be outlined on the digital testing portal closer to the administration. As a digital SAT test coordinator, your next steps are to review the test day planning and digital preparedness information on the digital testing portal. Consult your technology coordinator and review the system and technical requirements together. Familiarize your students and staff with the format of digital administration using the Student Digital Test Preview. If you have questions or need technical support, call 855-373-6387. Customer service hours are Monday through Friday between 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Time. When contacting us, please provide your name, title, school, and location. Thank you.